Welcome to another video here on Stutteringfreediary. My name is Manolis, and on this channel, as usual, we talk about overcoming stuttering ideas, and I also share my story on how I was able to overcome stuttering. And as I said, I was able to do it, so can you. In today's video, we're gonna talk about merging with our fears, and specifically about making a phone call. Now, back in 2008, back in 2009, for example, it was particularly hard for me to make a phone call, especially with people that I didn't know in person. So I remember, that's a real story, by the way. I remember sitting at a cafe in the city center. So before I made the phone call, I always looked around at people that were around me. I always looked at people that were passing by. I had this fear that people are looking at me because of my stutter, even though that was not objectively the truth. But anyway, that was one of my main fears. So then I stood up, and then I was dragging myself further and further away until I was to a point, or I reached a place where I was completely alone. And even then, it was a little bit difficult to be able to talk and focus and be able to speak on the phone without any tension. So anyway, one of the main messages in this video is that we have to create the circumstances, or we have to find ways. So as I was saying, we have to create the circumstances that will facilitate the whole process, that it will make it easier for us to achieve any goal that we want to achieve. So that's another personal story. So 3 years later, I remember I was at the airport. I was waiting for the boarding process to take place. So I had to make a phone call. So while I was sitting on one of these regular seats that you find next to the gate, I was in public. So I had to make a phone call. I had to talk with someone that I didn't know in person. But this time around, it was different because I was excited. I think it was about the trip that I had to organize, and this whole process took effort, and it took a great amount of organization. But I was excited about it, so I wasn't focused on things that were preventing me from doing it, from making that phone call. So talking about merging with our fears, when excitement comes around, then all of a sudden it gets more tight, it gets more narrow, because everything that was as an obstacle, we were facing, so to speak, as an obstacle. Now, if you're excited, everything goes away, and we can solely focus on what we want to achieve. So back then I said, okay, it's time to merge with my fear. It's time to not stand and go away, go, for example, to an empty area where there is no one around. I said to myself, I'm gonna make that phone call even though I'm around other people. So main message of this video, try to make it easier for you that in order to merge with your fears. And for the purpose of this video is making a phone call. Now, for people that are watching this video for the first time and are not suffering from stuttering, this may sound weird or strange, but people who can relate to this, making a phone call, especially when you fear stuttering, is extremely difficult. So that's one way to deal with it. I hope this helps. So that's all for today's video, and stay tuned for the next one.